Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Road to Nowhere podcast. I'm your host, Edward Extreme. New episodes go live every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific? I think it's 9 a.m. Pacific. So thank you guys for joining me for this week's episode. If you're new around here, please hear me out. Give me some time, okay? You might actually enjoy this episode. You might not, and if you don't, okay, I understand. But for those of you that do look forward to these episodes, thank you for once again tuning in, and I hope you guys enjoy this episode. I am going to be talking a little bit, very briefly, about how things are going here at home, me and my brother, because some of you have asked me, how are you guys doing? Okay, I'm going to tell you. In fact, that'll be the first thing I talk about. After that, I want to talk about what happened this Sunday at the WWE Survivor Series event. No, I don't want to talk about the actual event. I want to talk about the Undertaker's farewell segment that happened at the end of the show. I did not see it, but I still want to give my thoughts and opinions on what happened and what I know about that happened. So there's that. And then to close out this episode, I have a pretty interesting topic. A friend of mine posed this question to me the other day and said, hey, if you could change anything in your life, what would it be and why? And then I went to say my typical answer of, my life is the way it is. I wouldn't change anything. Yeah, you can't give that answer. And so I didn't answer my friend. But I'm going to do that here with you guys because I'm kind of curious if there really is anything. And I have actually been sitting around thinking about it. And there are a couple things. I would definitely do differently. Case in point was the story I told you guys last week. So we'll see. We'll get to that here in a bit. But first, the update. We're good. For those of you that are curious, that are worried about us or me, we're fine. For those that don't know, back in August, my father passed away. It's just me and my brothers now. Both my parents are gone. Me and my brother live in Montana. My other brother lives in San Diego with his wife and 3 kids. And financially, we're in a pretty crappy position right now, but hopefully that'll change. Other than that, we've got some things that we're dealing with, but we're good. As far as we are mentally, emotionally, physically, we're fine. I understand the concern, and yes, I will eventually go into everything that's going on. I'm just kind of waiting. I'll be blunt. I'm probably going to talk about it the week after Christmas, you guys. All right? So just wait. Give me time. I want to get through the holidays, especially because this is the first Christmas and Thanksgiving my dad won't be here for. And I have the responsibility of trying to make those holidays with no money. I mean, literally no money. We barely have enough money to pay our bills, buy food. Yeah, it's bad. Like, I'm not going to lie. And for those of you wondering, well, Extreme, don't you have a job? No, I haven't worked in 12 years. My job has been helping my family. I would take care of my brother's kids. He would pay me for it. But then we moved to Montana. And when we moved to Montana, that small, and I do mean small, income went away. Then I was just taking care of my dad and brother. And so I lived off of their incomes because combined, the two of them made over $3,000. With my dad gone, his income's gone, and now it's just me and my brother. And I'm making it work, but it is very stressful. And my priority is not myself, it's him. So hopefully, fingers crossed, pray to God, make a deal with the devil. Some good things will start happening very, very soon, because if not, it's going to hurt. But we'll see what happens. So, but yeah, we are good. Thank you for the concerns, but I promise we're fine. Okay, moving on. So this past Sunday at the WWE Survivor Series pay-per-view event, the WWE and wrestling fans around the world said goodbye to The Undertaker. Now, for those that don't know, at WrestleMania this year, The Undertaker basically had what will be his last match. It is rumored that Mark Calloway is not retiring, but the character, The Undertaker, is retiring. However, that was kind of put to bed this Sunday if I remember what I read and what I've seen correctly, basically they said his name. They said the man's real name. So it sounds like this is it. The Undertaker is done. He is retired. He is finally going to go and enjoy the fruits of his labor. Personally, as a fan, it's a little sad because I've always been a fan of The Undertaker. Good guy, bad guy, never mattered. He had this character that sucked you in and you wanted to see what was going to happen next. He would always have really good matches with whoever he worked with. Did he have bad matches? Oh, yeah. He's had a few. More than a few. But he's had more good matches than bad. He is, without a doubt, one of the few from the era of wrestling that I started watching in that was still doing it. The fact that that's it, he's done. A part of me is sad, but also really happy for him. He deserves to enjoy, life. And if you didn't watch the documentary that WWE did on him, the very, very real, raw documentary they did about him, the man lives in some kind of constant pain, and that's not fair, especially as he's a father, he's a husband. Right before WrestleMania this year, he lost his brother. I think it was his brother. I'm pretty sure it was his brother. And I didn't know that. I don't really read the dirt sheets as much as I used to. But I watched WrestleMania and I enjoyed that match a lot. I thought it was very well done. There were some moments that you could call because it just had to happen. But it was still good. It was still, it played to all the various different versions of The Undertaker we've seen over the years. You got the American Badass. You got the dark gothic character came out. You got the original silent and stoic Taker for a moment. You got all of those different faces of The Undertaker showed up during that match, and it was so well done. For me, I'm glad he's going to walk away and do so with his head held high. I think one of the coolest moments, and I saw an image of it, was they had Paul Bearer, a holograph of Paul Bearer in the ring with The Undertaker as he went down to one knee and did the hand up like his pose. I saw that image and it gave me chills, dude. That was an awesome thing. When William Moody, Paul Bearer, was inducted into the Hall of Fame a few years ago, Taker did something very similar. And it was really freaking cool. Those two were so intertwined with their careers over the years. Anyone who doesn't think Taker's going to the Hall of Fame this year, you're out of your ever-loving mind. And what sucks is they never actually did the Hall of Fame induction ceremony that they normally do. They didn't do it this year, but they are recognizing the Hall of Famers that were supposed to go in. From my understanding, a private ceremony was held with just talent, and they did film it, but they aren't releasing it yet. So we'll see what happens there. Then again, they may do a dual night Hall of Fame this coming year with COVID. Hopefully, fingers crossed, praying to God, making a deal with the devil will no longer be a thing. We got the first batch of vaccines coming out here in the next few weeks for first responders and other key essential workers possibly are going to be able to get it, which is good. And I think that's how it should be. But that being said, hopefully here in the States, COVID will stop being a thing because holy crap, I'm afraid to leave my house, not gonna lie, which is not really good when you go back to the thing we just talked about in the previous segment, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. I hope this gets reined in just a little bit more. And if you are wearing a mask and, washing your hands and all that stuff, please continue to do so. A lot of people seem to think that this whole thing is being done, though the wearing a mask is to, prevent the spread. And that's exactly what it is being done for. It's not a matter of controlling you. It's trying to keep this virus in check. And then there's so many people who are like, well, I don't need to wear a mask. I'm fucking immune. No, you're not. Did you get it already? No. Then you're a dumbass. I've seen some guys, so there are some heavy-duty bodybuilders who got it, who lost so much weight, who lost so much muscle to mass and development, and it's insane. So if you are out there and you think, hey, I don't need to worry about this, I'm very healthy, there are healthy people who have died from this. Wear a mask, wash your hands, don't touch your face, stay home. I know people don't want to do this, but if we do this in a few months, this is done. It's over. Life goes back to the way it was. Wear your damn masks, wash your damn hands, wash your asses too. Good God, some of y'all stinky. I've been out in public recently. Trust me, y'all stink. Not all of you, just some of you. Nasty ass. But, so yeah, The Undertaker's farewell was good. Yes, I'm bringing it back around one last time. I think it was well done from what I have read and the pictures I've seen. And I'm glad he got the send-off he deserved. He deserved this. He is a legend. He is a Hall of Famer. He is iconic. This human being transcended generations of fans like no one has ever done before or will ever do again. And he deserved way more than what he got. His last match should have been in front of fans. His send-off should have been in front of fans, but that can't happen. And it sucks, but that's the world we live in right now. And obviously he was determined to do this. Because I bet you $1 million. This was not an order handed down. This was him saying, look, either we do it now or we ain't ever doing it. So, let's do it. And that would make a lot of sense. It really would. So, yeah. That's a thing. And to The Undertaker, thank you for the memories. Thank you for everything you did for me as a fan, for going out there and performing, sick, hurt, injured, damn near dying from what I've read over the years. Thank you for always giving 100% to the fans. Because I know I enjoyed your performances, sir, and I know there are countless many others who did as well. So thank you. Thank you, Taker. Moving on. So like I said, and we don't have a whole lot of time left, so I spent way too much time on the Taker thing. But, so, what one thing in my life would I change? Man, there's actually quite a few. So I'm going to kind of like go over some of them. I've talked about my friend Hannah before, and the situation that happened between me and her, I would absolutely change that because, yeah, that could have gone completely different than it did. Let's see. The situation with my ex when I was 18. I always wondered what would have happened if I'd just given her what she wanted. For those of you that don't know, when I was 18, my ex cheated on me with a friend of mine because I wouldn't sleep with her. So I always kind of wondered what would have happened if I just slept with her. Of course, there's what happened with Sam from last week. I always wondered if I just stayed with her, would my life have turned out differently? Whew. There's a lot of things like that I would change. But then there's some other stuff. Things I've never even talked about publicly. When I was 16, my English teacher, Mr. Fleming, his nephew, some of you who are wrestling fans may know this, you might recognize the name Alcatraz. Well, that is Brian Fleming. That is my English teacher's nephew. And when I was 16, I was in Mr. Fleming's class. And he said, hey, here's the deal. You stay in class, do your schoolwork, and my nephew will train you to be a pro wrestler. I chose to say, fuck you. As much as I'm trying not to cuss, that's exactly what I said. I basically said no. And a big part of me always wonders, would my life have turned out differently from that moment forward? And I know for a fact it would have. How much differently, I don't know. But for those that don't know, when I turned 17, I met a shady promoter who claimed to be a wrestling instructor. He was not. He was a lying sack of crap. And he basically said, look, here's the deal. I'm going to teach you how to wrestle. I'll do so, but you have to agree to wrestle for me exclusively. And I said, well, is this a permanent exclusive arrangement or is there like a time limit? And he said, well, will be a time limit. You know, we'll have a contract and everything. And I said, I ain't signing shit. Those are my exact words to this grown-ass man. I'm a 17-year-old kid. I told him I'm not signing anything. Actually, I did say the S word. I'm trying really hard not to cuss so much because I know I cuss a lot in other videos and I have to censor those now. Ugh. I don't want to censor stuff. I really don't. But, so, he gave me this opportunity. He didn't teach me anything. He barely taught me how to take a bump. I would end up being taught by the actual legitimate independent wrestlers that he would bring in from time to time to work with me because I was the only person on this guy's roster that had any inclination as to what the heck he was doing. Everybody else was just goofing off, which sucked for me because I had to work with those buttheads too. It got to the point where I dreaded having to work with anyone other than the independent wrestlers because I knew I was probably going to get hurt tonight. But I never got the opportunity to do anything more, and I never really learned how to be a pro wrestler. Officially, I was never properly trained or licensed or recognized in any way, shape, or form. But I loved doing it. I hated, the bumps sometimes, but that's part of doing it. But I loved going out there and performing. I loved going out there and just going and telling a story and trying to entertain a crowd that really didn't want to be there. Most of the people that were there were simply there for the freaking drugs that the guy was selling. Yes, I worked for a drug dealer who also claimed to be a wrestling promoter. Really, it was just a bunch of shady gimmicks all in one. Like, you would have drug deals going on, wrestling matches, and then there'd be rave music playing the entire time. And you would have some people watching, and some people just kind of like, do. It's like, what the heck? It was such an odd experience. Eventually, he finally stopped doing the raves, he stopped doing the drug dealing, and he just focused on the wrestling because, hey, guess what? Because of me, he was making money doing it. Because I was putting in a lot of work to make this thing work out because I figured, well, if this is as far as I go, I'm going to make it work. And I did. And it was successful to a point. We were able to draw at our highest point before I injured my back. We were able to draw 200 people just to watch us wrestle. And a lot of people that were working for this guy took notice of the changes that were happening and they started putting in effort and everything worked out. But I go back and I think if I just done what Mr. Fleming had asked me to do, I would have been trained by his nephew, who then could have got me in touch with various different promotions that have direct lines to the WWE, and who knows what could have happened. Could I have been that good? I was able to take a bullcrap company and turn it into something. I gotta toot my own horn here and say, apparently yes. With no legitimate training, I was able to do this. So yeah, I believe wholeheartedly I could have, made a run at it. Would I have been truly successful? No, but I know I would have had my foot in the door. But at least I would have been able to wrestle legitimately with other known talent. I could have worked with Christopher Daniels. I could have worked with, Frankie Kazarian, AJ Styles. Hell, at the time, I would have probably worked with John Cena. That says a lot. And I threw it away. Why? Because I was a dumb kid. And so I keep thinking about it. Like, would I have changed that? As much as it pains me to say it, because when I think about the events that would have also been changed because of this, the biggest one being my brother and my sister-in-law never would have met, because they met because of me and my sister-in-law's sister. We never would have met, which means I wouldn't have met so many other people because I'd have been busy with school and wrestling. I wouldn't have had time for so much of the BS that I got myself into. I wouldn't have messed up my back. I never would have worked for Toys R Us. Life would have been different in many, many ways. And as much as I don't realistically want to change anything, if I could change one thing, that's it. Because that is the moment I believe wholeheartedly my life changed forever. Because I could have been on a path to success and money and who knows what else. Maybe not in WWE, maybe not even in the US. But I could have at least had that chance. And I threw it away because I thought I knew better. So all you young guys that are watching this, please take note of my stupidity. If an opportunity, a legitimate opportunity is presented to you, think about it before you say no. Because you don't know what you're turning down until it's way too late. Thank you guys for joining me. I thank you guys for sticking with me. Growing pains. I'm getting back into this. I have content in the works. It'll be out soon, hopefully, maybe next week. But we'll see what happens. But as always, thank you guys. I appreciate all of you. Have a safe holiday this week for those of you here in the States. For those of you elsewhere in the world, please be safe. And I'll talk to you guys again soon. Till next time, adios.